It really is a pleasure for me to be here. Actually, at my age, it's a pleasure to be anywhere nowadays, and in fact, know where you are at this time. If you had an opportunity to look at my bio, which is in your package, you'll note that prior to coming to Visa about 8 years ago, I spent 33 years as a public servant, sitting where many of you sit today. And that was a pleasurable experience. In fact, a lot of times when I speak, I say we. I'm really referring to myself as still a public servant because I feel like a public servant. That is until I go shopping and realize I can afford fresh meat today. We didn't have a padlock incident. Ours was a $300 toilet seat that the Defense Department bought. So it was interesting. The Secretary of Defense wanted to see that toilet seat and see what caused it to be so expensive. I want to take a few minutes this morning of your time, which I know is precious and hard to get, to talk to you about what's happening in the U.S., what has happened in the U.S., and where we are going, the trends that we're seeing today in the U.S. It was interesting to hear the answers to many of those questions because they're very similar to what we have in the U.S. There's a lot of similarities between the way we operate in the government and the way you operate here in the UK, with just my brief experience with you folks and some of the answers on here. We're faced with a real recession today, but even before the recession, efficiencies within the government was a topic addressed by presidential candidates going back over 20 years. And in fact, in the 80s, when President Clinton was elected as president, Vice President Gore had a program which he called Reinventing Government, eliminating red tape, bureaucratic red tape, and streamlining government to where it serves its citizens more effectively and efficiently. We Americans do like to think we invented the purchase card. It was really an adaptation of a commercial payment process already in place. But we were, I think, the first to use it, and as far back as 1992, in use of the card with the acquisition process in place, in lieu of the old way of doing it, we're saving on average $95 every time we use the purchase card versus the old procurement process. And we had to change the process. We had to change not only the culture in the organization, but the rules and regulations governing the way we did our procurements. But every time an administration changes, especially if it's a change in party, the new regime tries to erase all the traces of the old party. And that's exactly what happened when Clinton left and Bush came in, is one of the first things that happened. And when you walk around the Pentagon, they're taking down door signs, not only changing the people, but changing the names of the offices as well. However, while the executive level support for the purchase card in reinventing government waned when Bush's administration came in, we were so embedded with the processes already, the purchase cards were so embedded that they couldn't go back to the old way of doing business. They really couldn't. They didn't have the people or the time to do so. It waned, but we continued to grow. If you look at chart one, this is President or President-elect or the candidate. This is candidate Obama. This is his platform. We need change in Washington. Even before elected, he saw the benefits of web-based technology and commercial payment processes. In fact, in his election literature, he specifically called out the need to further streamline procurement with the use of purchase cards. Chart two, just look at the pillars that his platform was based on. This is part of his inaugural address. Transparency, accountability, and efficiency. These are all familiar terms with you. You're using today. He saw the need to spend wisely, reform bad habits, and do their business in the light of day, transparency. The question is not whether the government is too big or too small, but whether it works. Nick Sidon, who is the deputy director of the UK's think tank, basically said it's improving government efficiency, that it was more than just about money. It was about the way the civil service operated, culture, organizational changes, things that you pointed out, in fact, this morning. And this is the challenge. How do we know if it's working when we don't even have time to think about it? That's what makes cards so important to the acquisition community in the U.S. They allowed the U.S. to move the low-cost common purchases out of the contracting offices and concentrate on the things that they were not doing well, the more critical actions to assist in acquisition. President Obama has made it clear that the government has to change. He has publicly questioned the acquisition process. He has stated that he will save over $40 billion from doing it smarter. He appointed the first ever Chief Performance Officer, Jeffrey Zients, to look at the way the government does its business today and find more efficient, effective ways of doing that business, doing it smarter. The effort will not just be about cutting programs and people. It has to be about what government does and how it does it. Whether it's by political candidates, industry captains, or think tanks, governments around the world are being challenged to reduce inefficiencies. Chart 4. So where are we? What are we doing? These charts came from the GSA SmartPay program, which is run by a central contracting office for the U.S. government. It's called General Services Administration. Their card program, roughly $30 billion U.S. a year, right, is what they've been doing now for about 20 years. However, it's not about the size. It's not about how big they are. It's about continued improvements. The U.S. program was implemented with the goal of moving low-dollar purchases out of the contracting offices to allow the people who need the items to get them faster and, in many ways, cheaper. It then allowed the contracting officials to turn their attention to the more complex and critical procurements and to serve the taxpayers more effectively. It's estimated that today over 90% of the small purchases that used to go into purchasing offices are gone and are being done by requirement folks out in the field with purchase card. Therefore, if the U.S. is to continue to obtain savings with the card or see more efficiencies, it has to look at other types of payments, other uses of card and payment technologies. This is where we in the U.S. have actually shortchanged ourselves, and not until recently has the government looked at the way or at the card as a way to streamline other types of payment processes. Tuition assistance, grants, subsidies, payroll, emergency relief or disaster assistance, retirement benefits, and contract payments. All of these processes could benefit from streamlining with the use of commercial card or card payment technologies, and at the same time, increase transparency and accountability within those processes. The use of the card for those payment processes and those payment types are not new. They're new to the U.S., but if you look at the way card programs have been used in Brazil, Australia, Russia, even here in the UK, you've used them in other areas where the U.S. has not even thought of it. GSA has identified those areas as challenges for the U.S., and in using the card and new technologies is conducting business process reviews to determine their benefits. If you indulge me just another second, I received a letter from David Shea just last night by email. David Shea is the executive director for the GSA SmartPay program, and he wanted me to deliver a message to you folks today, so I'm going to extract from that letter and read that to you if you would indulge me. Dear colleagues, I congratulate you on the continued success of the United Kingdom's government procurement card program. In these difficult economic times, I regard the current business climate as an opportunity to leverage commercial card solutions to solve a broader range of government business challenges and extract greater efficiency and cost savings from payment processes. Although my organization does not endorse any banks, suppliers, or brands, We continue to believe that commercial payment solutions in general, creatively applied and thoughtfully integrated with programs, offer a compelling opportunity to save taxpayers money while simultaneously enhancing agency mission delivery. With 3 million cards issued, the U.S. government has largely reached market saturation for the traditional purchase, travel, and fleet uses of the card. The next epoch of GSA SmartPay, therefore, involves applying this payment processing engine, which we developed through the years with our customers and banks, to a broader range of government business problems in both card-based and cardless forms. I am pleased to report this effort, known as Beyond Plastic, is beginning to get traction. One agency is involved in transit benefit payments to its employees using a variant of purchase card technology. We have integrated purchase card point-of-sale recognition to new government-wide office supply strategic sourcing arrangements that are already saving agencies millions, and we are on the verge of providing a new payment system for a domestic freight shipping program. We also hope to soon test the use of new program to support funding grants with the objective of enhancing transparency and accountability. You are gathering to address a similar challenge that offers opportunities to develop new innovations in order to streamline government processes and reduce costs. I know you face many of the same challenges that we do. I wish you a successful conference, and I look forward to hearing more about how you are addressing these issues. In fact, David emailed me this morning. He said, make sure you get some best practices out of the UK and bring them home to the GSA program. Therefore, I personally would urge all of you to take a look at your present programs from a different perspective. Are there government business processes where the payments and disbursements are being made with checks or other less efficient methods or means? Would commercial payment technologies like purchase cards or mobile make those processes more effective, more transparent, and more efficient to the end user, the citizen? We in the U.S. are now looking at those verticals across functions as well as across borders. Despite what some in the U.S. may think, we didn't invent best practices, or not all of them were invented there. If you listen to President Obama, Jeffrey Zients, or Philip Green, or Nick Seddon, they're all saying the same thing: improve efficiencies, transparencies, and accountability. These characteristics, if you're working in card programs today, you know you have them because they're inherent in card processes, and you should be proud of them. I look forward to spending more time with you today, and please give me the benefit of your knowledge and experiences. Thank you very much.